Okay, we are here with Mr. Brian Hirata, Fine Arts Department Head of Mililani High School. And Mr. Hirata, I would like to ask you, what is your perspective on becoming a successful, reflective practitioner in the classroom management strategies? What is it that you do to keep your students engaged?
I think one of the most important things for the new classroom teacher to understand is the first thing, the students need to have some sort of set routine. So some set of routine that we've actually practiced to start the class. So if I don't know if you remember watching any of the symphonic band rehearsals, but our routine is they come into the class, they grab their stuff, their instruments, the music stand, and their their pencil or pen, and then they get their instruments ready and set up in the band setup. But I don't have them playing on their own instruments first. So the routine that I set up for them is that they grab their stuff, they're ready, and then they start their board work. So I think that routine of having them focused on one thing sets them up for a more successful class and a more successful rehearsal. So I guess in summary is just setting up some kind of routine that the students know and actually have practiced to get the classroom started. And then besides that, I think once the class has started and the routine is set in place, I think on the teacher's part, you need to be very conscious about the pacing or the pace of the class to keep the students actively involved and to keep the pace of the class moving and not kind of become dull or become stagnant for any period of time during the class. So that's pretty much what I think about.
Okay. And what advice do you have for me when I become a new teacher for the Fine Arts Department?
I think to have clear expectations and to have clear goals. And I think if you have clear written goals, then you're more likely to succeed because you actually know where you're headed. So I think sometimes beginning teachers have a difficult time because they really don't plan out what they need to, they don't plan out their goals and objectives and where they're going. And I think if you do that, that would help you out. And then I think the second thing is you need to set these goals early in the year. So make sure when you start the year off, you have those clear expectations. And actually, if you talk to many of the teachers, they're going to say be hard at the beginning of the year and then you can lighten up at the end of the year. It's pretty difficult, if not impossible, to go the opposite way. So sometimes beginning teachers want the students to like them first. So I think you need to be the opposite and actually set the standards first, and then you can loosen up as the year progresses.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, well, I have multiple kinds of strategies. I have verbal, I have nonverbal, I have sound ones, and silent ones. So one of my most common ones is a clap echo. So then I establish that on the first day, that when I clap, they clap, and then I assert that the goal is that they're absolutely silent afterwards. So we practice that a lot of times of what that means. And the trick for any management strategy to work is that you, as the teacher, wait and make sure that they're all doing it at the same time. If you allow 1 or 2 kids to not do it, that will become the pattern, so then your management strategy becomes non-existent, it's useless. So in the very beginning I spend a lot of time waiting for everybody. Once we start clapping, making sure the whole class is clapping, and once everybody's clapping, we're together, then I will continue. So that's one of my biggest ones, is the clap. I do a silent echo, or a silent strategy where I just start moving or mirroring movements, and then they start moving with me. That's if I feel like they're so loud that it needs to come down. So I'll do a mirroring thing, and I'll wait till everybody is mirroring with me. I do a vocal one. I do Echo Me Now, where I say Echo Me Now, then they repeat it, and I play with my voice. The way I like to engage students, because it's drama, the more variety I find even in the management strategy, then they find it fun to play along, and so by the end of it, then I have all of their attention. If I can make them engaged in the management, then that's most successful. Other times, other strategies I use are I'll do silent one, just sit silent, or I'll lower my voice. And when I lower my voice, then they want to listen more. I play a lot with my voice in general, so that it doesn't become monotonous to listen to. I try to make my voice more exciting at times, quieter at times. So even that I feel like is a management, because when I get really quiet, then they sort of all want to be quiet too. Those are, I guess, my biggest management strategies. And I guess the most advice with management, I sort of mentioned earlier, is making sure that you stay on it. If you allow a student to not follow the management structure, then that's where management issues happen. If one kid sees, oh, that kid's not doing it, then I won't have to do it. Then more kids will see, I don't have to do it. And that's when you start to lose your structure that you're building. So whatever you're gonna say, even if you as a person, you don't want to stick to it, you got to, if you want to keep the control of your classroom, you got to just keep going. I think biggest advice for new teachers is to really listen to your students in how they are responding. If you notice that they're not responding, what are you doing to elicit that response? It's not always them. Maybe sometimes, you know, the students are kind of distracted, but then what can you do to re-engage them? I think always being able to critique yourself or self-reflect about your choices in the classroom. I think biggest problem with teachers is if, oh, the kids aren't doing this, oh, the kids aren't doing this, oh, so then put it back on yourself. What are you doing as the teacher to help them to do whatever it is you want them to do? You know, children in general are mirrors of their teachers, and I find that the teachers that hold their students to a high expectation, without being mean or without being demeaning to their students, but hold their students to a high expectation and make them rise to it, and not say like, oh, this is how you do it, but as in, this is what you have to do. All right, what are you doing to get there? That's the classrooms that are the most efficient and effective, where if a teacher says this is what we're doing, and then will allow students to do less than that, or not work together, or whatever it is, then, and they lower themselves to how their students are behaving, then that's when kind of a classroom can become out of control. So really just stick to your guns, and if the students aren't gonna, let them know it's their choice to be in that classroom, and if they're going to be in that classroom, these are the expectations of what it means to be in your classroom. And if they don't want to do that, then then they choose not to, and take those things as not you're going to set forth, this is what I'm doing, this is how it's going to be, this is how we are going to behave in our classroom. If you're going to choose not to participate or be a positive contributing member to that classroom, then have them reassess their behavior. So that would, I guess, be my biggest. That was kind of a long-winded talk.